cares, man? Fuck, he was hanging around so long. Hanging around for so long. Does he always linger around?
Yeah, he won't ever leave.
I feel the same way when he's on the eavesdrop. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So kidding. He's that.
I love how you just went right into it.
I know. I was just trying to fill in for Nick. Why isn't Nick here? He says he's sick.
Yeah, he texted Paige this morning and said he was choking on his own puke.
I think that at some point or another we're gonna have to start instituting a prove it. Either I want to see puke. I'll see. I'll see if you're really throwing up. Send me a video of you throwing up.
Dude, have you ever told the story of Atlanta?
Mine? My birthday?
Yeah.
No. So
Is that a podcast story?
yeah, the ultimate podcast story. That's when you were first starting to talk to some chick.
Yeah.
We discussing that, but I remember that night clear. That's the last thing I remember was you sitting on the side talking to someone at the time, and Nick was there too, and then me walking into the bar area, and by now we just had dinner, so I had already had my traditional 3 ramen cokes for dinner. This is Atlanta 2017. 2019.
2018. No,
2018.
2017.
Yeah,
2017.
Before the sale. And it was my birthday, February 9th, and I walked into the bar and everyone was like, "Oh, happy birthday, here's a drink." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." It was the first time anyone in my life has celebrated my birthday like that.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, from this industry, obviously my friends and I have celebrated my birthday for many, many years, but it was at an event. It was my first birthday at an event ever. I'm just gonna tell the whole story.
Dude, please do. It's
everyone.
Just so you guys know, if you're listening, this shit is disgusting.
It's bad. Luckily, Jude knows all my intricacies, so she won't be surprised if she ever hears this, because she knows also. We went to dinner with the league, and I was having three Bacardi Cokes, steak. It was one of those places where they serve you 7 courses of meals.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was my birthday, so everybody at the table celebrated my birthday by taking a shot. We took a shot. Everyone was there. Sundance was there. Adam Apicella was there. League people, league team owners, etc. And we got back. I go to the bathroom. I come out. I see you, and by now I'm like 3 rum and cokes in, which means I'm a little bit buzzed. Not anywhere near. I can still drive a bicycle. I can still play Call of Duty.
Yeah,
at a high level. And I remember walking in. DeSerto Mike was there, which was part of the fucking problem.
That's probably the biggest problem.
Right?
Yeah.
So people started buying me shots, and I'm like, "It's my birthday. I'm gonna take some shots."
How old are you? 39 here?
39.
39?
Yeah, 2019, 39. All I remember is Mike DeSerto Kent singing "Happy Birthday," and everyone's "Happy Birthday." And I'm like, "Oh." Then I take it. I remember going like this, and then the rest of the night is it's gone. It's a blur. Picture every single retro memory that you've ever had in sepia tone, fuzz. From there, we went to a different bar.
So you guys go to a club.
So we went to a club, and it was me, Duncan. On the way out of this thing, someone with us fucking walks out and trips and falls on his face. We get 3 Ubers out of the original place, and then we all go to the bar club area. It was in Atlanta, so obviously it's a regular bar, but the dive bar, and we're all drinking. Adam Apicella's there. What is that fire guy? The fireman's name? The bald dude, super cool. Used to be production manager.
Paul.
I hope Paul's doing well, man. That was such a stand-up guy, especially after this night, because at some point or another I blacked out, but I still had mobility in all of my body.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember drinking or taking a shot at this bar, and then the next thing that I remember is being thrown on my bed. Okay, I got thrown on my bed, and I remember like hitting the bed and then hearing the door slam shut.
You have no idea who.
No idea. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm so drunk out of my mind. I'm like, I get up from the bed, and immediately I'm like, raw, and I puke projectile towards the chair that was there. And then I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever been this drunk. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm like, oh, I know what to do. I'm gonna take a shower. So I get buck naked, and I'm in the shower. And then I remember thinking, I'm like, man, this tub is slippery. I better sit down because I'm drunk. I don't want to knock myself out. Drunk, get drowned and shit. So I'm laying down, and I'm like this in the tub, and then I'm like, ugh. So I fucking puke. So
It's all over yourself.
Well, the shower's hitting me, so okay. I'm like, it's valid. So I'm getting water on me, and it feels good, and I'm like, ugh. And then I'm like, I look down, and I see chunks of meat. And then I reach out, guys. This was when I was young, when I was 39 years old. I grab with my left hand. I remember clearly because this is how fucking Hector Hex Rodriguez I am. I grab one of the chunks of meat from the tub, and then you see where that basket is? I go like this with my left hand into the toilet, and I make it, and I'm like, that's fucking right, I make it. And then I remember like laying back and thinking to myself, I'm like, I might die here. So I get up again, and then I somehow get to my bed, and I remember the puke, so I'm like, fuck. So I get up again, and I'm cleaning it, and I'm flushing it, I'm cleaning it and flushing it. And I'm just like, man, tomorrow I'm going to have to get a new room. It fucking reeks in here. Anyway, I'm like, I'm going to lay down for a little bit. I lay down, and then all I remember is my phone. Zzz, 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 and I'm like, whoa, look. And it's my alarm saying that I have an investor call. This was before the investment. This was during the investments. And I wake up, and I'm hung over like I've never been hung over before in my life. I don't remember the private equity group that I was talking to, or the investor. And I'm like, and I remember laying down and feeling just my heart pounding, like, and every time I took a breath, I just felt nauseous. I felt like I was drinking gasoline or something. It was just, everything was numb, and I could taste the alcohol. And I get on the call because it's important, right? Nothing gets in the way of OpTic business, no matter how sick I am. And it was at the time where everybody was after us trying to give us money. So I'm like, I better take this shit, see what's up. And I just start talking, and I'm like, boom. And I remember, being a little bit off my game, but not too much to where it was noticeable. But as soon as he hung up, I'm like, so I puked again, and I swear to you, it was pure. It was as if I had a filtration system inside of me that kept all of the soda in my tummy, but all of the liquid, white, burning alcohol was just going into the toilet. And I'm like, man, I fucking hate it. I pull out my phone, I look at my footage, because obviously I was vlogging at the time very heavily, and shit, bro. It's there. You can see it. It's in the vlog. It's in the vlog somewhere in Atlanta. And it was the worst. It was the other time, industry time, that was that drunk. Should I just tell you all my drunk stories?
Yeah, wait, what's the other one? I'll just never get over, because that's the first time. I don't know if that's the first time you met Blake and George.
I don't remember.
Because it was the next day, or it was 2 days later, because I think you took the whole next day
off
and rested. So it was that Saturday, and you came up to us in the lobby, and you were like, bro, because they weren't there on Thursday, but they were there on Friday. I was like, yeah, the last time I saw Hector, it was his birthday. He was like mad drunk. Like I haven't seen him that drunk. And then, so I was like, you probably won't see him today. And then we saw him the next day. And then you immediately came out to us in the lobby and told us the shooting basketball with your puke story. And Blake was like, what?
They were eating their Moe's. Right? It was Moe's, right?
So.
It was Moe's. Welcome to Moe's.
Because George had never met you, and Blake didn't know you that well. And he was just like, dude, Hector's crazy. I was like,
I am crazy.
That was definitely like
the other industry time that happened was at the Xbox party at E3. Wiz had just got a job at YouTube, or was still at it was at the time when he was dating Justine.
Okay.
She was there, and that's how I remember this is how we got into the Xbox party, to the VIP section.
Yeah.
Because at the time, although we should have been invited, I should have been invited to those places. I didn't know the right people, and Justine obviously is connected everywhere.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in, and it looked like this. Right, there was neon lights everywhere. There's fucking shows going on. It's at a bar, but there is an ice statue sculpture that has a luge, and at the top they would drop a shot of Fireball.
Okay.
So by the time that it got to the bottom, you're sitting there, you're like with your mouth open, and it just shoots inside of you. And I remember Justine was everybody was there. Everybody was there, and everybody was having a great time. Nate Shot was there at the time when he was there, and at this point, I think he and I just started talking again.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So this is like later. This is like Scuff House days.
Yeah, this was Scuff House days.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I thought you were talking about like early 60-50 days.
No.
Okay.
Early 60-50 days. Early 60-50 days. Every Thursday was my night to get fucked up.
Yeah,
because
Thursdays used to be the night.
Yeah, because there was no fans.
There's no fans.
And at the time, obviously, like we were still very conscious of the fact that the people that our audience, before you motherfuckers screw up, essentially. Okay? And I wanted to be, I knew that whether I wanted to or not, there was going to be a slight sense of role model thing going on because, I was older and whatever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be very responsible on that. And I remember at that, in LA, there's a lot of weed going on and
a lot of weed going on over there.
You know me. So it was I took so many shots of this thing.
Fireball.
Of the Fireball. Plus my go-to, right? The rum and Coke.
Have you retired Bacardi Coke? 'Cause I think I bought you one like a couple years ago, and then when we left, it was still full, and I was like, "Damn, he might have retired."
I stopped drinking just completely.
Yeah.
Because of my gout. This one.
Okay.
Alcohol gives me that, and I'm testing out to see because I haven't had a flare up in a long time. And I just got my 23andMe. Have you ever done that? You should do it. 23andMe. It's where you spit into a vial, you send your DNA and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It came back and it tells you like what you're predisposed to. So me, I can look at it right now, but gout is one of them. And the fact that it showed me that like goes to show like how far in advance you're able to circumvent these diseases that you are prone to. Let me see. So 23andMe, atrial fibrillation, eczema, restless leg syndrome, and I do have that. RLS, which is restless. I got asthma. I don't know about that because my lungs are powerful. Migraine. I just had one yesterday. Seasonal allergies all my life. Anxiety. That's a fucking lie.
Yeah, you don't have anxiety.
I don't have anxiety. Skin cancer.
You have the opposite of anxiety. What is that?
What's the opposite of anxiety, Matt? Dude.
What?
What the fuck? See how in sync we are?
Did you just say the same
exact same thing in the same tone? Yeah, we connected. LDL cholesterol. I don't know what LDL cholesterol. I mean, rosacea, Hashimoto's disease, severe acne. Fuck you. No, I don't. Look at my fucking skin. 23.
Bro, I used to have horrible acne.
Gallstones. I don't even know what that is. Nearsightedness, it just started to happen, and obstructive sleep apnea. I had that during my 20s.
Confidence?
Oh, egotism.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, but 23andMe, I recommend it. There's no code. I don't have a code or anything. In fact, we do have a sponsor for this podcast, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Why don't you tell them who this is?
Frickin' corduroy.
What we're sitting on.
What we're sitting on. It's the title sponsor, so like I feel like I would probably say something in the middle of the podcast, but you already know what the deal is. If you're watching the Flycast, you loving corduroy.
So we're at this place. I rented. It was the first time I ever used Airbnb, and I'm like, "Yo, Nate, do you want to split this? It's $1,600 a night, 3 nights. We split it." And at the time he was dating. I don't know if I mean, yeah, right. It's like everybody knows he dated Jenna a long time ago, and I remember getting there, and there's a fridge and there's everything, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should go across the street to Target to get some food. And then I started opening the cupboards, and then I found some honey oat, those Nature Valleys, a Nature Valley bar, and I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm never gonna. I get home from this fucking party, and wait. So during the party, we're taking shots,
Yeah.
and I'm just drinking. Everyone's there. People are coming up to me, like, "Yo, man, blah, blah, blah." And these are industry people. It's like, "Yo, I love what you're doing," blah blah. And me and Fwis are talking mad shit about like, not about people, in a mean way, but we are making, but you know, I mean, obviously, Fwis has changed his ways, maybe, but he is so fucking hilarious. I literally love hanging out with him because he's like the right kind of humor for me.
Yeah.
Also, Nate Shot, I don't know if people find him as funny as I do, but he is really like in line with like what my sense of humor is. And when he gets going, I die.
Whenever I've been researching people for like around the bar interviews, you're going to be obviously one of the first like 3 guests. And so I was like watching a lot of different eavesdrops, and I watched both Nate Shot ones. Dog, you and Nate, eventually, I don't know when you guys are going to have a podcast together.
You think?
Yeah. You guys, I mean, you guys have like the best chemistry, like on camera chemistry of like, I think anyone. Like, I don't know. It's like, maybe it's just like nostalgic for me in a sense, but I think people that like, even if they're like new 100 Thieves fans or new OpTic fans or just esports fans in general or just gaming fans, like with just watching you guys and like going back, it doesn't matter what you guys are talking about. Y'all have really good on camera chemistry.
Yeah, so Nate was there. I don't even remember who else was there. I remember also, never mind. So this whole night is going on, right? And I'm fucking drinking. And I have it uptight. There's competitions going on, and then all of a sudden, I blacked out, and I'm like, "Fuck!" And I remember Fwis, either Fwis or Nate Shot walking me to my Uber and saying good night. And I remember like driving away, and I'm just like, I walk in. Oh my god, I should get something to eat. And I remember walking by a hot dog stand on the way there. You know, the street hot dogs, and I was like, fuck it, I got some Nature Valley upstairs. Why the fuck would I like? Why would I eat my favorite food ever? Better than pizza, better than burgers. A hot dog dominates in my life, in my world. Walk past it, I get upstairs, and I just remember immediately, puking into the sink, and I'm like, fuck. I started washing it. I'm like, let me eat some Nature Valley. And I'm eating Nature Valley, drinking Sprite. Eating Nature Valley, drinking Sprite because it was so dry. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, I am going to bleed from my gums and the roof of my mouth if I don't put some liquid in this thing. So I started drinking. Then I go lay in my bed. And I remember laying down, and one of the pillows smelled like they had a cat or a dog that pissed on it. And I was like, I go to bro, it was the first time that I ever missed. Because I hit everything minus the toilet. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to close this door and I'm going to pass out. Wake up next morning at around like 10:30, and I clean it. And those are the only 2 times in the industry. But we were just talking about World of Beer because you know how New York got canceled, so now they're moving the Call of Duty event to Columbus. I was like, oh shit, World of Beer?
Dude. Wait, is it that studio?
No, it's not. It's different, but it's Easton. In Easton, Columbus, there's a World of Beer that we had the best times at, and I remember talking to him like, yo, I still have the vlog from when Banks was there getting fucking crazy, and I have it all on video. And I will never show this to anyone. I'll probably share it with Banks, but I will never, and Tommy,
yeah,
and all of us, right? But I will never make it public unless he wants it. I'm kidding. But it was such a fucking wild that whole.
When he was wait, what was he doing? Like, why was he going crazy?
So this story has been told before by them. So I'll tell it. At some point or another, we all got super fucking blacked out drunk, and I know there's a thing developing here, but I'm not a drinker. Like I smoke pot and that's it. I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen you have a drink in like 2 years.
And it's not that I don't want to. I had shots. Like I have drinks, but I don't drink to get fucked up anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that believes in the phrase, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
In the movie.
I feel like that's not a good thing.
No.
To say.
It's not. But I say it and I live by it.
Okay. All right. I get you.
The other thing is like something that everybody should know. Like I've never done coke. And that's to me that's like bad. So I'm never gonna do heroin or I've never done LSD. I've never done drugs. Weed and shrooms is the only thing that I've ever altered my mind with.
Yeah.
Never done Adderall. I just know that I'd be addicted because I'd be a superhuman. I've never done Xanax. Anyway, I've never done that. So me talking about these things is just like normal, and I'm a person too. I was young at some point, and I like to fucking
It's the
party.
Flycast. They don't
give a fuck.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. You don't have to backtrack.
Yeah.
There.
Also, I'm fucking 42. I don't give a fuck what you got. 43. I don't give a fuck what you're gonna tell me. You know, I don't.
No, the Flycast listeners, they don't.
Okay.
They love the shit.
Yeah, I figured. So, what were we talking about?
The bank story.
Oh, the Banks story. So anyway, we got fucking super drunk, and Banks obviously this was before Banks became Super Banks. You know, a celebrity.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
this guy.
No, this
Who was it? Drake was just like, I was just talking to Banks on the phone. Drake said that.
Yeah.
In a sentence, as if it was like normal. That the biggest superstar in the world says, yeah, I was just on the phone with Banks. What the fuck? Where do we live?
No, I don't know.
Is that not the craziest like ascension? And
No, Banks has to be the best networker of all time. The best networking person I've ever met in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, keep going.
I have great memories with Banks. Excellent
Me too.
memories.
The only time I've ever been kicked out of an IHOP was because it was
Banks. So anyway,
he stood up on the table.
It's getting crazy. The ladies there, or the girls there, are starting to put up the women there are starting to put up the stools up on the chairs. We're closing this place down, and Banks keeps on like bringing them down so he can sit on them. He's like, hey, you can't do that. We're fucking mopping the floor and that. And then he's like, whatever. He's like, you know what? You're out of here. They kick him out. So we're left over in the area because we haven't finished our pizza. And he gets kicked out. And I have a picture of him looking through the window. It's snowing. And he just looks sad, right? He just looks sad as he's looking inside. And I'm like, oh, come on, that's my boy. Don't let him out there. Temper's fucking crying, laughing. And that's the night that he got out. And then I think Tommy took Banks' shoe off and threw it in the snow. It's Ohio, so you know it's fucking freezing.
Yeah.
Middle of winter, it's snowing. Banks throws the shoe at Temper, and then Temper grabs it and like fucking throws as far as fuck. So Banks has to walk barefoot to get there. They get in an Uber, and then they start talking, and Banks is loud and blah blah. And the driver says something smart to Banks, and Banks talks shit back to him. And when they get out, the driver looks over at Temper. He's like, yo, tell your boy that he needs to fucking relax, because look. And then the dude pulls out a gun.
What?
Yeah, the Uber driver pulls out a fucking gun.
Are you serious?
And then Temper's like, damn. So they bring him in, they take him out.
What?
But man, I think at some point or another, I was thinking about this morning actually, and I'm not fucking lying. I thought about like one day I'm gonna tell my entire story, my entire life story, but it can only go live after I die, so that I can't get in trouble.
Yeah.
And that people can remember the fucking legend that I was. Because the shit that I've done behind shit and the shit that I've experienced it's man, those memories, all of them, but those memories need to be heard, man, because they're so fucking fun. Fun.
Dude, this is when I was still working at G Fuel. So I was like, they were flying me to events, and I was just like taking pictures and like videos and stuff, and then coming back. And one time, randomly, like obviously FaZe, that was their biggest client at one point. So like we did something, and I got introduced to Banks, and that's when I met Banks and Tommy. And so Banks was drunk, and like he was just like pointing at people like, yo, we're going to IHOP. And he pointed at me. He was like, we're going to IHOP. And he doesn't. No way he knew who I was. He was just like, we're going. And I was like, okay. So I ended up at an IHOP table with all FaZe members, and nobody there knew who I was. But he pointed to me and said, we're going to IHOP. Yeah. So I just went. And then he was drunk, and it would take a while that he stood on top of the table, got on top of the IHOP table, and just started dancing on top of the IHOP table. And then they
What year was this?
2012? No, 2013. No, 2014. 2014. This is Ghost. Yeah. And I think it was Anaheim. No, fuck, I can't remember where it was. But it's the only time I've ever been kicked out. And then so I went there with a bunch of FaZe people, and I was just like, I wasn't like starstruck, because I was like more of like an OpTic guy, but like I just knew it was a crazy opportunity, and also you don't say no to Banks. No. So he was just like pointed at me and said, we're going. And I didn't know anyone there. I knew who everyone was, but nobody knew me. And then we got kicked out, and then I just kind of went home. And it was it's the most random experience I've ever had. Cause like There's no way anybody else remembers that. People were there probably. I mean, it was just. I just remember thinking like, dude, like I gotta go to Walgreens like on Monday, and like here I am with all these gamers, and like they're spitting game at girls, and like they're all rich and famous and living the life, and like I'm at IHOP with them. Anyway,
what'd you order?
I don't think I could
Grand
afford.
Slam?
I
Oh no, that's Denny's.
I couldn't afford anything, bro. Back then, I used to go to. I would go to events, and on Thursday, we would get there on Thursday, and I would immediately go to a Walgreens or like a CVS, and I would get peanut butter, a jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, and bread, and then I was set for the weekend. I would just eat that, and then like I would hang out near drunk people, and some people would be like, "Yo, Hitch, you want a drink?" And I would grab a drink, and then they would order food, and I would eat their food.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry I'm not on the Flycast this time. I wanted to be. Unfortunately, after the Colorado trip, I got sick. But good news is the Flycast is brought to you and sponsored by Corduroy. Don't I look comfortable right now? I'm comfortable right now. I'd get one of these. I'd buy one of these. Like I said, this Flycast is brought to you by, and we are sponsored by Corduroys, the official sponsor of the Flycast. You guys, elevate your gaming setup to the next level with the OpTic Gaming Beanbag by Corduroys. This exclusive beanbag is made with high-quality materials, ensuring it is durable and long-lasting. It is also filled with soft and plush poly foam that will make you feel like you are sitting on clouds. Say goodbye to aches and pains after long gaming sessions, and hello to hours of comfortable gaming. The OpTic Gaming Beanbag is designed with the iconic OpTic Gaming logo, making it the perfect addition to your gaming room. The OpTic Gaming Beanbag is available right now. Go to corduroys.com to get it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back for the next one. Peace.
I like stories like that because it.
Dude, I did that for like...
putting yourself in positions to just hope that something good happens, and it happens, is like so rewarding. I've experienced it throughout. I'm getting flashbacks of my gaming party days, like as we're sitting here, and I'm like, I can't tell that one. I can't tell that one.
Dude, when I first joined, like, I feel like that 2013 year had to been crazy for you guys. I remember, because like I didn't start going to events till 2014, and things had already turned that corner. But like it was 2013 and 2014 was the weird time because you and us we were still going to UMG events and UGC events, which are basically glorified locals.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys had basically MLG CDL fame.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I think we tell the story all the time of when Formal and Nadeshot tried to go to the bathroom, and then they had 400 people following them.
I had to stand at the doorway.
Yeah. Like that. That was the era when like I came in. So I can't imagine what that was like on the back side of things, where it's like you just got like a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old dudes that like now are making $100,000 a month. And like, what do you do whenever you have that level of like fame? And it's got to be weird from your point of view because, you were 32 and you had lived a whole life prior to this. And then that shit happened. So like,
it's like
party. I want to know what the party days were like in like 2013. Like
they were worse than that's when it was the worst, because social media hadn't hit the stratosphere in the way that it is now. And at the time there was a level of there's no filming around these here parts unless you can film, but don't film the bad parts. And at the time it was like hardcore MLG days, which means that Michael Sepso and Sundance legend DiGiovanni were paying for fucking everyone. And I remember I'll always be thankful to those two because they always guided me on a business sense, like towards the right thing, while getting me fucked up. And not that, but like I'll tell one more story, and I think I've told it before. When we got to Aspen for X Games for Halo, I stayed with Sundance, Sepso, and Adam Apicella, and those are men. Those are men's men from the old.
Yeah.
Because I've never in my life to this day have seen somebody handle the amount of handles that they drank and still be cohesive enough to have a conversation. Because, and also fuck Fwiz, because this is how the night started in Aspen. And I don't want to, I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's just your podcast, but it's turning into like a story, a party storyline. We were in Aspen. Everything was good. First time I got there, X Games, it was me, Lester, Rishi, and Fwiz, and then I was staying with Sepso, Mike, and then they paid for everything. And I didn't have a team there either. They were there for Counter-Strike and Halo, I think.
Yep.
But the first night that we got there, and it was the first time that I understood the concept of smoking weed legally, where no one cared.
Oh yeah.
Because we got to Aspen, and we got to a club. Me and Rishi were separated from the group somehow, and then we finally got to the spot. And Rishi's like, "Hold on, let me see if we can get to the front of the line somehow." And they're like, "Yo, if you buy bottle service, they'll kick us to the front of the line." I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude! Boom, how much? Bam, man, here you go." And then it's like, "Yo, ask him if we can smoke weed in there." Just because we were smoking, and he's like, "Yo, can we smoke weed in this?" Hell yeah! No one else was allowed to smoke weed. Only my area on the table. And I'm not saying Rishi was smoking. I'm just saying that I was smoking. And Rishi happened to be there.
Right.
And we're smoking, and we're like, "Oh, it's a party. It's a fucking club. We're drinking. I'm fucking chugging, dude. I'm fucking chugging." Fuck. I look at my Hamilton. I had a Hamilton watch. Still to this day, still have one of the best fancy affordable watches. Like 800 up is the baseline, but really great pilot watches. I look at it. And like this, right? So I'm closing one eye because you can't use both eyes when you're drunk. So I close and I'm like 10:30. I'm like 10:30. I'm like, "Yo, we gotta go." So like, where are we gonna go? I was like, "I don't know. Let me text fucking someone." They're at this billiards place.
Okay.
So somehow we got transported there. I wake up and I'm playing pool against Adam Epicella, and behind me is Sepso, Sonny, Lester, and Rishi, and like other MLG people. I look to the right, and Fwiz was a waiter. What the fuck does that mean? Well, he came with a platter, like with 18 glasses of whiskey.
Just shots?
Shots. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's 12:30? No way. And then he puts it in the middle of the game, puts it in the middle of the table. And he's like, "Drink up." And he grabs it, grabs it, takes it, legendary. Then everyone's like, "Nah, dude, it's 12:30, man. You don't take shots at 12:30. You take them pre-12. Nah, everybody drinking, bah, 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 bah. And we're like, I'm to the rafters. I'm fucked up. I'm stoned. Fast forward, it's 3:30 a.m. I'm sitting editing a vlog.
Holy shit! I used to edit drunk too. I forgot
editing,
about that shit. Okay,
I'm editing a vlog, and to my left, standing in the middle of I'm sitting at the head of the island, and there's a sink, and on my left is Sepso, on my right is Sundance. Sepso grabs a handle of some vodka, pours into a wine glass, half the wine glass, gives it to Sundance, and I'm looking up from my laptop. I'm like. I look up to the corner of my laptop. I'm like, it's 3:30. No fucking way. No fucking way. Pours me one, and I'm like, I'm not fucking drinking that. I'm not drinking that. So he's like, he keeps it for himself. They cheers and they chug.
What the fuck?
And in that moment, I was like, they are who they are because they're that. They
just go.
They went. And man, I don't remember what happened after that. But that was another party story that had to be told. It has to be remembered.
What are they up to nowadays?
Well, they just sold their business Vindex.
Okay.
They got announced today. It was acquired by ESL. Face it. They acquired them. There's a lot of similarities in the business according to whatever the thing was. And this is not a plug in it. That's weird that you asked me. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
This morning, I got a text. I was like, "Yo, this." And I was like, "Oh, pretty cool."
So they've sold how many businesses now?
They sold MLG. And then they raised like 300 mil for Vindex, and then they raised more, and they just sold again.
Jeez.
They know what's up, and you know what, man? I'm happy. I will say I am happy that group who started this thing, is benefiting from that, because more often than not, the people that build shit don't ever get rewarded.
That's nuts. Just from the console side of things, like MLG was just so
Ahead of its
such
time.
a staple.
Yeah,
MLG, man,
it's a shame.
it's such a shame. It's like heartbreaking, honestly, like to really think about. When was the last MLG event? Like, what was the last one?
I don't know.
It's not. It would never be possible to bring one back, right?
No,
Just for one time.
I mean,
Farewell to MLG.
of course there is. Yeah,
We should do that.
we should go out of our way to do that. Throw an MLG event. Call it the MLG.
Or just the farewell to MLG.
Farewell.
Brought
to
to you
MLG.
by OpTic.
That'd be good.
Sponsored by
Do a
Corduroy.
merch collab. Brought to you by Corduroy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what you say? Brought to you by what?
Yeah, brought to you by, presented by OpTic Gaming, brought to you by Corduroys.
And Tito's vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Why did we get on the topic of my partying days?
Because you said something about puking, and then I asked if you had ever told that Atlanta,
legendary.
the Atlanta story, and then
Imagine having with your left hand when you're a righty, drunk, laying in a pile of water and puke.
holy shit!
Still have the hand-eye coordination to make a shot that difficult.
All right, you told me right before we sat down that you have to lose like 50 pounds or something like that.
So Nate Schott is getting married to a great woman, Haley. Hey, super cool.
Oh yeah.
I like always on top of her shit. Always goes out of her way to make everybody feel welcome. Good for him. And you know, like as a friend of his that was took care of and had his back from when he was young, to now see that he's found his way. And I always knew that this was going to happen with everyone. Like I remember living at 60/50 thinking, my imagination, I was thinking, like, man, one day I'm gonna be Uncle Hex to some of these people's kids and shit.
Yeah.
And he asked, he's got a group of like 13 groomsmen.
Damn. 13 groomsmen?
Yeah, it's only because Haley is like, she's got a squad of friends that have been friends for a long time.
I get that.
I think Haley's best friend, Ellie, is, or Elle, I don't know what it is. You'll figure it out. Is also marrying Shibby.
Okay.
Who's Nate Schott's, one of Nate Schott's bestest friends ever. They have the golf thing in common, so that,
Right.
Whatever. So he's in it. I'm in it. Courage, obviously. Other people, Mud Dog, I don't want to name everyone, his brother, but also from our side, it's Seth and Embos. So me, Seth, and Embos are in his party. Fwiz, obviously, in his party. And I always say that I have to lose pounds. I don't. I could just,
So you're trying to lose weight for the...
Not trying. The thing about trying is that I know that if I want to, I can just lose weight. I'm a skinny dude. Just happen to not exercise anymore. My legs are as skinniest ever. Look at my wrist. So like I'm not afraid. I can lose weight. It's not an issue. When I had COVID and I didn't eat anything, I lost 16 pounds.
Well, yeah.
So all I got to do is not
all you have
get
to
COVID
do is
again.
not eat.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's easier to not do the COVID
yeah,
part.
Yeah, don't do the COVID part.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta lose a couple of pounds. I'm super intrigued by what you're doing because I don't have that discipline. I never had. I'm very disciplined with things that I want to do. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
But fitness and that has never been a thing, and I wish it was. But nah. So you not eating meat? My dad, bro. My dad had diabetes.
This shit's crazy.
My dad had diabetes. And the doctor says, like, yo, you need to change your thing. But I think that what changed him is...
Type 2 diabetes.
I think so. I don't fucking know.
He didn't have insulin. Did he take insulin?
No, he didn't take insulin.
Okay, type 2 then. I believe.
No, he didn't take insulin. But he had diabetes. As my 23andMe says, he's prone to that. I have 10 relatives, long distant relatives in the Philippines. I have an aunt, great aunt, or she's doesn't matter. A long distant relative in Germany.
What?
Yeah, my 23andMe tells me where I have shared DNA with people.
So do you get the pass?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
No, listen. I'm valid in every
Okay.
country.
Okay. I don't know what the German.
So I don't know what my dad. I think my dad had something wrong with his spine. But my dad's was a soccer player growing up, so he's a very, he's got good bones. So the best way I can say it. But in his later years, something happened with his back to where he had to get a bone marrow transplant. One of his discs had to be replaced.
Okay.
I don't know if I didn't ask. I'm a man. I don't ask questions, right? I don't give a fuck. None of my business.
All right. Okay.
They put somebody else's bone marrow on the inside of the donut, which is the replacement of the disc, and he said that since then he felt a difference in his DNA. It changed him. Where before he didn't give a shit about anything. He was like me, a very like everything's gonna work out kind of guy. And he just told me this like last month. To now, he's like, I worry about fucking everything. I'm anxious about everything. I'm always thinking. Anytime I see you on the news, I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna take OpTic away from him or something like that. He said those words to me,
and
I was like, I'm like, Pop, your son is a son of a bitch. Well, no, I didn't say that. No, let me rephrase that. I'm like, Dad, your son is a prick. Your son is a proper prick. Ain't nobody gonna take advantage of him.
Yeah.
Ever again. And he's like, I worry now. My mom's like, he is a clean freak now. He doesn't like wrinkles. He's like, it changed like the bone marrow from whoever else, or the bone that they ground up to be in his marrow, changed his DNA in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because he thinks about things way different. One of the things that changed for him was his ability to be okay with not eating meat ever. No animal products. What is that called? With no milk, no cheese.
Vegan.
Yeah, vegan. So he's been vegan for 2 years, best shape of his life, and for the life of me, I don't understand how he can live life without eating protein or meat.
No dairy. No dairy. No protein.
No dairy. No nothing. No.
Or no dairy.
Almond
no
milk. No cheese.
What the fuck?
And I once brought these tacos that were fucking delicious. I'm like, Mom, you gotta eat these. And he's like, damn, those look good. He's like, I think I'm gonna eat one. And he never ate it. He hasn't eaten meat, period. He said he had like a broth from something and he just got sick to his stomach and he's just like
really? Yeah, apparently it gets to that point. Yeah. Where like that's what I've heard that about people who give up soda. I gave up soda for a year in 2020. But like January 1st, 2021, I drank a soda.
And you were
I was like, damn, that shit was good.
So spiky.
like I wonder how long it has to be, because I hear vegans say that too. Or like people that have been vegan, they're just like, yeah, after 3 years, like you don't even want to touch meat.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can't wait for that, because I see I still think about the burger you ate on the fucking pre-show. I still think about it. Or the
so greasy.
What was it? The
tater tots.
Bro, that shit was crazy looking.
The thing about that though, man, is like, and I always thought it was like, if you know, let's say that my expiration date is 93. 93 years old. If you continue to eat meat for the rest of your life, 93 is your expiration date. Okay. But if you start exercising and eating healthy, not eating bad food no more, delicious bad food no more, you'll live to be 95. I'd be like, I'll give you 90, Mom. I'll give you. Yeah, like I'd rather live a happy life. And I love. I get what
you're saying.
And I don't know why I love food so much. We have a new show for Nation that's coming out called Idiots.
I can't wait for that.
It's essentially going to be me and two of my closest friends, graffiti writers, Omens and Revise. Revise is also known as Chef Won Yup Kim. He's been on a bunch of cooking shows like Cutthroat Kitchen and shit. Like he's won a couple of episodes or a couple of anyway. He's a fucking certified chef. He has a restaurant called Kimski in Chicago. He's coming along and we're doing like this trip.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? I got distracted.
Food.
Oh, food and eating.
Yeah.
And one of the episodes is going to be my mom's food.
Oh, yeah.
So we have an El Paso episode. We have Houston. It's a Texas. The volume 1 is going to be Texas, and one of the episodes is going to be my mom's food.
That's dope.
And my mom's food through my grandma on her side. If You've never had it, I don't think, right?
Nope.
Um,
I've heard stories.
but you know, Omens, who is a very picky, sometimes out of control, annoying, picky eater, talks shit about everything. Like he said that is, if not the best, if not the, or one of the best, if not the best food he's ever had in his life, and it's just one dish. It's like real Mexican soul food, and I would rather eat that than anything else any day of the week.
Yeah.
And because of my upbringing and because of that food, I think that I just became such of, like, food is one of the most important things in my life, man. I just love eating, and I am happy and glad that I'm not fatter than I am, because the way that I eat sometimes surprises me. I can put shit down. So we're doing this show. We start in El Paso. We go to San Antonio, Houston, Austin, Dallas, and then in Dallas we're gonna have a dinner prepared by Chef Won Yup Kim at Seth's house for all of us.
Yeah.
And he's a creative genius, obviously, because he's a great graffiti artist. He's a DJ, creative as fuck, dude. And he's translated his creativity in art and music into food, which is what separated him from other chefs. So he's gonna take all of his learnings from all of the food that we've eaten, and he's gonna prepare a meal for all of us to enjoy as the last episode of that. And hopefully the way that it's for OpTic Nation.
Yep.
Gold members, they get to see the entire series right away, or half the series right away. And then I'll upload it to my YouTube channel a couple of weeks or a week later after that. But I'm really looking forward to it.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that. You got Austin Cox is following you guys around. And,
Austin Cox is one of our filmographers. But we decided on the theme song for it. I like food. Food is good. I like food. I like food. Food is good. I like food. It's gonna be so good. I'm hyped.
It does sound very Tony Hawkish.
Idiots.
Idiots. Hopefully that shit kicks off. Because if you guys do just Texas for Volume 1, then what are you guys going to do next? California? Imagine a Cali one.
So there's Cali. They're from Chicago. I'm from the suburbs, but they're from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So going to
Chicago, yeah.
So I think no matter what, I'm gonna if we get a sponsor, it'll make it easier for us to decide where we're going next. But as we were sitting there, we're like, man, let's go to Japan. We'll do Tokyo. Oh, another element of this thing is that in every city that we stop, we're gonna paint a wall. So like there's a graffiti element involved to that, which is cool because up until January it had been decades since I painted a wall. It's gonna be a legal wall. It's not gonna be illegal. So don't give us too much props. But it's gonna be fun. It's
gotta be illegal to get props.
Yeah, that's what graffiti is.
One question that I had for you, because it's a big thing going around right now. Disguised Toast has his own Valorant team. A big creator, got his own. Purchased his own Valorant team by himself. Moist Critical and Ludwig now co-own a esports org. Do you think this whole what you and Nade kind of envisioned was just like creators owning esports orgs and like seeing that part of it? Do you think that's going to become more common?
I think it should have been like that from the beginning. I think from the start, and obviously what I did, and I know that I talk a lot about myself, but just because I do that doesn't mean that anyone should take any credit from the shit that I did. And I understand that I talk a lot of shit about myself, and I love me a little bit of me, and I do it mostly for comedic purposes, but also there's a level of truth in there. But I think that the way that we did things, the way that Nature, when he left, started his own org and did, the Peril and then his own org, should have been the same thing. When Paris Legion became a thing, I was so surprised and in disbelief that ownership group didn't go to Gutaga and say, hey, we'll make you a co-owner of this thing. And that would have been so successful. They would have been one of the most valuable teams out there. Gutaga is like one of the biggest personalities in France. London, hello.
There's a
Sidemen.
There's 7 guys out there that know what the fuck they're doing.
Hello.
Yeah.
But meaningful equity, right? Not here's 2.5 that after dilution and after investments and all that, and they would have been thriving businesses. So yeah, I think that they more than ever, are gonna have the ability to do that, but there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, because you sort of at that point have to constantly promote and water that brand. And I don't know, and I didn't know about Disguised Toast. I knew about Moist Critical, about owning a team, but and I'm sure they're gonna find their own way and their own groove to do things. But the level of selflessness that it takes to run a team fucking sucks, especially when you're a creator, because when you as a creator have a bigger following than your teammates, it's really hard for you to swallow your pride and say, I'm way bigger than you. You're fucking welcome for being here. Right. Just play, and everybody is going to benefit from this thing. And I don't know if I hope. I don't know. I mean, I don't know these people, right? I heard good things, and I obviously seen and respect what they built for themselves, in whichever industry they're in or whatever games they came up in. Their names are being brought up by you on this podcast. Yeah. So obviously they did something right, and I'm not saying that this whatever. So yeah, I think it should have been that way from the beginning, man. I think that if you take that approach. Because look at OpTic, right? OpTic was massive when we picked up Nadeshot. Yeah. We had 300,000 subscribers in those days when we picked up Nadeshot and Merc and Big Timer and Rambo. So, the amount of effort that it takes to constantly promote them, to make sure that they are big, to make sure that your investment is going to be worth it. Sometimes people see that as like, man, I don't know if I want to get them bigger, because the bigger they get, the more I'm going to have to pay them. And you're constantly doing everything that benefits them more than you, but at the same time, the org benefits from that. And every single time, like we got there, and some of the reasons why I always made sure that I went above and beyond contract-wise when I was able to, is that at some point or another, agents are going to be involved, and that's in my opinion. I don't like to do business that way. I like to do business face to face, right? And I know that sometimes some people have taken advantage of people, but if you're thinking long term, there's no need for you to cut corners or try to scam someone out of a salary or out of something. From the beginning of time, every single sponsor, all the way through fucking Scuff House, 80% of the majority of the sponsorship money went to pay people, whether it was by paying for the house and the fucking utilities, which every fucking creator forgets that shit costs money, because if orgs don't put them up, they're gonna have to spend the $4,000 on their fucking apartment or whatever, and their utilities, right? So people always dismiss the rent as not payment. Anyway, long story short, I hope so, man. I hope that more people get involved, because billionaire sports owners, as smart as they are, and as much as we have to learn from them or have the ability to learn from them, sometimes they don't understand the culture, and it's better when somebody endemic is the one that puts their best foot forward to build something.
I want your opinion on like what I like, my opinion on it's like the reason that like you see a bunch of turmoil happening in traditional esports is because a lot of these traditional esports organizations are backed by people that are specialized in sports. Yeah. And in sports, I think the number one source of income is ticket sales, and almost all of the big names that are being
concessions
backed.
Once you get the ticket sales.
Right. Yeah. It's something that revolves around ticket sales, and then concessions, and then sponsorship postings within your own arena, and then you got if you're at a Rangers game and it says if you're at an ECU football game and it says Pepsi on the side of the cups, they paid for that. Like everything is in venue stuff, and then you come to esports, who has just as many eyeballs really as some of these like lower sports teams, but we don't have that ability to have ticket sales. And so now our number one source of income is sponsorships or, merch or AdSense or different, like there's
digital sales is the ultimate ability for an organization, especially if you're involved in a league. Right now, the issue with Call of Duty and Overwatch is the fact that they give you skins, but you don't get that value truly.
Yeah.
Right? It's I mean, anybody who has a creator code for Call of Duty, tell me how much the most you've ever made. Think about that. Right? And then think about the fact that bacon camo on one day sold $4 million worth. Right? Or the fact that nowadays it's more than that. Call of Duty League would be better off if they just gave us 3 drops or 4, a quarterly drop that was split 50-50 between the CDL and the teams. Okay?
Yeah.
I would argue, though, that it should be individual teams because there are teams out there that are not putting the amount of resources and effort into growing that team. Right? And I'm not calling anybody out. I understand. I completely understand, and I'll never talk shit about anyone's business the way that I hate doing that because I would hate it if people did that to me. But you know, the amount of effort that we put into this thing, like it shows in the lack of effort because of whatever reason that other people. So it would have to go individually per thing. But you know, maybe one of the drops goes to the pool of the entire 12 teams.
Yeah.
But it would be a very easy way to right size and be on the right path of the CDL if they said you get 50%
Right.
of the amount of your skin sales.
Yeah.
And you get your own store, and you can whatever designs you want, whatever charm, whatever sticker, whatever camo,
Right.
4 times a year. Like people would have a decent business in their hands. The fact that as partners, and I'm doing that quotation mark because I fucking mean it, we're not partners with the league. We
To not the people that work at the league's fault.
no.
It's not their fault.
No.
It's higher up than that.
Yeah. There's Activision, and then there is mobile, whatever the mobile, whether it's Candy Crush and all that stuff that Activision owns. Then there's the retro games from Activision, Atari, and all that shit. And then there is Activision Blizzard Studios, which is like their movie shit. And then there's Activision CDL. Then there's Activision Overwatch League, and then there's Activision, you name it. Somewhere along the line from Activision mothership to this tiny little entity of things,
COD League,
COD League, like something, there's a disconnect there, right? And having the honor to be able to pay tens of millions of dollars to promote their game with almost nothing in return, it's a slap in the face.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and I'm used to it. I've been here since Call of Duty 2,
right.
Which is why I take it personally. It is more my game than it is their game, right? And the second that somebody in 2013 told me that OpTic was only big because of that, and I went out of my way to do Minecraft, I went out of my way to be a lifestyle to prove that OpTic was OpTic because OpTic and the people in it.
Right.
That's why I'm upset.
And the worst part about that is you don't get the satisfaction to like prove that person wrong because they just know, like they don't care. They don't care. They just said it because they thought that, and then if you say, "Well, we did that," well, they'd be like, "Oh, well, that's just because Minecraft's the biggest game," or that's just because people like to smoke weeds. Of course, he's gonna own his own marijuana company." It's just like everything is just like dismissive.
Yeah.
But what I originally wanted to ask, I don't want to bring up the whole like.
Thank you.
The what?
For not bringing up the things. I don't want to go on tangents. It's just it boils my blood.
Yeah.
What was the reason?
I didn't want to bring up the whole like the whole Call of Duty thing. I was mostly just talking about esports in general.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a misconception between the fan bases of all these esports orgs or esports in general, and then the not understanding why these big decisions are happening in esports. Why TSM is taking on these huge risks with crypto companies that don't work out or
what was the risk there in your opinion?
I don't know. It depending on how they use that money. If they hired a bunch of people and then they couldn't afford to keep them on board, then you got to fire a bunch of people.
Yeah, well, sure that, but anybody that laughs at TSM for FTX plunging doesn't understand business and how fucking awesome that must have been for Reggie and team. Because think about this. Somebody comes in and says, I'm going to give you $210 million over the next 10 years. That means that for 2 years or 3 years, however long that happened, they collected $21 million that year. And then guess what? They get to go back to be just TSM, not TSM, FTX, TSM.
Like the Mixer deal, but
yeah, I mean, for that org, and listen, I'm not dismissing the amount of people that got fucked in this thing.
yeah.
But for people to make fun of a company for making $21 million a year on one fucking sponsorship, like, what the fuck are you laughing at?
Yeah, I was more talking instead.
I
of
would have taken that deal any day of the day. I'll take the deal right now.
Well, instead of like not that particular one, but just like people see what happened with TSM, and they see what happened with the Guard, and they see like different esports orgs.
Infinite.
Yeah, Infinite might be the best example.
The thing is this.
Why are esports orgs not being does it seem like they're not making money and not being sustainable? What's
happening to the market now is like a major part of that. Also we are very lucky in the fact, or in the sense that we understand what OpTic is to everybody that watches this. We understand that we can't just pick up who's big that's independent.
XQC.
We can't pick up XQC because he may not be their cup of tea. And he's not going to come in and blow us up even more. And because that's not sustainable either.
Yeah.
People, and again, I don't want to talk about anyone's business model, but for OpTic, we can't do that because this is a show of real people trying to build something, and the characters within this office have to be the same. By the end of The Office, when Michael stepped away, it changed. I didn't watch beyond that because I wanted The Office to have Dwight.
Even though they brought in some of the biggest names ever.
Who?
They brought in Jim Carrey. They brought in...
No.
Yes.
Jim Carrey was in The Office?
Yes, after Michael left.
To further prove my point.
They brought in Will Ferrell for 6 episodes.
I love Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, and I still didn't watch it. I don't know this.
Yeah, they brought in some of the biggest actors and actresses to try to fill that role, but like just because they're big doesn't mean that they put the amount of love that Steve Carell did into The Office. I get what you're saying. It's a good analogy.
So when people when people 3 to 4 years ago when talking shit about Maniac and talking shit about Embos, those same people that would have talked shit about them would have been just as mad if we replaced them with people that they did. This, as much as is reality, and we're living this, like this is a real thing. Like we have struggles, whether interpersonal or business. Like this is a real thing that's happened. This is a reality show.
Yeah.
So for me to say, man, forget them. Let's do what's best for here. It's like doesn't work for me because them is what's best for OpTic. They are the ones that are gonna tell their friends to watch us. They're the ones that are gonna be like, yo, you should see what happened to this. I don't know what OpTic is. It's like, well, they're the ones that are gonna grow and continue to the green wall will continue to expand organically. For me to bring in an XQC, not that I could or out of our league, but the good thing is that we're not searching for that.
Right.
In my opinion. I mean, obviously.
No, I completely agree.
Because OpTic is OpTic because it was OpTic. OpTic's not OpTic because we were out there. Like we'll collab with anyone. We'll make videos with anyone. There doesn't have to be any monetary incentive. It's like when we collab with Castro. Like there's never any talk about money with him. You know, like every single time that we've collabed with him, it's always like, yo, you want to make a video? Yeah. All right. And then he comes in, we make a video. Fucking fans love it. Their fans, his fans love it, and that's it. Right? I believe in keeping the people who care about your team in the team because there's more to them than just a paycheck, man. There's a level of camaraderie that happens here. There's some gang shit here at OpTic. You know what I mean? And some people, maybe because of the era that they grew up in and they weren't lucky like me to grow up in the 90s where the coolest of everything happened, and bringing that into like the soul of what this thing is just different, man. And I'd rather help grow somebody within OpTic than to pick up somebody that's already big. It just there are going to be instances in which an opportunity presents itself.
But even in those opportunities that you're talking about, like like if we pick up, which we have before, when we picked up Pomage, it's not like Pomage was just a sniper. He was the guy. He was getting on his montages, he's getting 800,000 views of, and so like we pick up Pam, but we pick up Pam because he loved what we were doing.
No, and he wasn't OpTic before.
And he wasn't, and he was, but he was in OpTic, but he wasn't in OpTic. He was in Sniper,
He
was in Sniper Team OpTic.
Yeah.
That's so much different. It's just like, I mean, you don't see that in very many instances, and what you do see in some of these teams that are, you know, constantly recycling their creators or recycling their staff is just because somebody has a big following doesn't mean that the fans and inevitably the sponsorship that you're banking on is going to see right through that. Like they're going to understand that it's not an actual team.
There is proven instances to this day, as of today, there's proven instances in which orgs have picked up megastars and it has done nothing for the brand, right? And my number one thing with talking to any influencer that has interest in OpTic is, are you interested in joining OpTic? Why? And then we can talk about the money. But I am never going to pay somebody cash to be a part of this thing. What the fuck? Right. You'll get paid for the work that you do.
Yeah.
You'll get paid what you're supposed to get paid.
Right.
I am king fair to a fault. To a fault. And it's got me into situations with people, but I am fair. You get this many viewerships, this is what you're going to get paid. You put in this many hours a week, this is how much you're going to get paid. This is not OpTic. It's not a place where you're gonna go and just get a paycheck and like I cannot do that. And I'm not talking about any of our recent people at all, right? Yeah, I'm not talking about Bobby Poff who just left. I love Bobby Poff. I'm just saying that because people are gonna say that.
Yeah.
And I have to make it clear.
Think about that,
There was a situation recently where I think Tactical Rab was talking about. I made a comment and he said it had to have been Crim6 okay, I know what it is. I said that somebody hit me up after they retired to join OpTic, and then I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, no, you can't, because you and your girl were talking shit about the green wall. And there's like 100 people that it could be, and I'll never say who it was, but it was not Crim6. So I'm clearing it up right now. It was not Bobby Poff. Bobby Poff and us couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah.
He's also in North Carolina. Right. If Bobby Puff was here in Texas, he'd still be here. I have nothing but great things to say about Bobby. I wish he was still here.
Yeah.
Okay. But OpTic is not a place where you just come in and get a paycheck. Like if you're looking for an org paycheck, it ain't here. Right. OpTic, as I said, and it'll always be. And as corny as it may sound to some people, I believe that we are a family. I believe it. There's nothing that I wouldn't do for any of you, and vice versa.
Yeah, no.
That's why and I'm not talking shit about any fucking org.
Yeah.
But you can see it. It's not beneficial.
You can see it, and I think, I don't know. I know we should probably wrap this up, but it just seems like that's the big. I think a lot of people were shocked with the guard situation, and I was surprised of how it happened, but I wasn't shocked. And I was actually more surprised, and I feel for everyone that was involved in the situation. I'm not talking about those people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the public and seeing what's been going on. It's like I wasn't too shocked because of how fast esports has grown and the inflated salaries that esports players have.
Yeah.
I think the creator route, the creator owned team route is going to be way more popular in the future if done right.
If done right. Because there is a level of selfishness that you're going to have. There's some fucking many instances in which you're going to have to swallow your ego.
I'm sure. I'd love to talk to Nate about that. I'm sure that was a transition for Nate because he was one of the biggest creators of all time. And now you got Disguised Toast, who was getting 1.7 a video in the Among Us days, 1.7 mil a video, and then Ludwig and obviously Moist Critical, two of the most massive, influencers now. So it's inevitable that that's going to happen with them too. And depending on how far I don't know how far they want to go with it. But also, like, you can't have a esports team and then like half-ass it for content. You got to like do it.
Yeah, you can't. You can. But,
I guess you can.
Yeah. But if you're a creator that is going to have your own team, it can't be done as the same way a billionaire would buy a sports team because it's like I own a sports team.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like for me, OpTic is everything, right? Everything. And I learned my lessons, and they hurt. I lost friends. I lost a little bit of my spotless fucking business reputation, and making sure that my partners, that like the way that I felt back then is that, and this is the worst place to be. You can never get between me and OpTic, because at that point, I just no holds bar. I'm gonna do whatever it takes every single fucking step of the way. And as much as I like to call myself a good businessman, I'm not, because a good businessman would put money first in front of everything and do everything. But I go out of my way to be fair, and that is not what a businessman is. A businessman is fucking frugal and doesn't give a shit. And in those times, I think Jay and I would have been, and it's my fault, right? Because I let go of the wheel, and I didn't want board seats. I didn't want to have anything to do with management. I wanted to be a creator. And that was my mistake. And because of that selfishness, I lost a friend. Chris Chaney and I would have been great partners. He would have done great. But at some point, it got in the way of me and OpTic. Yeah. And things happened. Ari Siegel from Immortals, he and I have maybe talked in total an hour, 2 hours maybe tops. He and I would have been great business partners. That dude's fucking mega smart. He's a good businessman. We would have been great partners. But he came in a time in which people were in between me and OpTic. So we never got a chance. Andy Miller, one of the fucking best people I've ever met. But it was at the time in which I was getting OpTic back. And, certain things got in the way of that, of us continuing to work together. And that is what it is. And, right now everything's good here. And I hope that it continues to be, because I don't think that I've had this much fun doing the things that we're doing. And people need to understand that OpTic for me is a lifelong thing. And if investors in OpTic, if this is just an investment to them, then they're temporary. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that they're taken care of from their investment standpoint. But I'm here for OpTic is a thing that my coffin is going to have an OpTic logo on it.
Yeah.
It's easy to understand me because I say what I mean and I do what I say I'm going to fucking do, including protecting OpTic at all costs, no matter the cost, no matter the risk.
So your advice to all mega creators out there that are
get your team tattooed on you. No, I'm serious. Get your team tattooed on you, because that is the first step. That, in my opinion, that is the first step to truly believing in this fucking thing. Because if you put it on your body, and I'm not saying, if you don't believe in tattoos, what is this? This is
hypothetical.
Hypothetical? Yeah, this is hypothetical. When you decide that this thing is a lifelong thing for you, it's gonna make every decision that you make easy, no matter how hard the decision is.
All right. Well, that's been episode 942 of the Flycast. Nick couldn't make it because he was puking, but
he wasn't.
We were sick with
fucking
it.
Liar.
He was sick. We were sick with it. All right, we'll see you next time. Play that fucking outro music. That's the first time I've ever said it. Usually Nick says it. But
hit him with the music, Hitch. Hit him with the music.